Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This one I got a juicy one for you guys. We're gonna explore what Final Fantasy taught me about World of Warcraft in an odd sort of way. I think they can both these games can help each other quite a lot if we put the rivalry aside. So I decided after 10 years of playing WoW to give it a go to see what Final Fantasy uh, does better, what we can learn from Final Fantasy, and perhaps what Final Fantasy can learn from World of Warcraft, and hopefully both games can make each other better. So I have a level 52 Paladin in Final Fantasy, as you can see here. I think the cap is at 80 for the levels. I mean, I'm a complete newbie, so if any of you guys are Final Fantasy players, take everything with a grain of salt. What I want to share today in this video is specific to leveling, the experience I had leveling in Final Fantasy compared to World of Warcraft. And I'll initially start with positives that I noticed that maybe it's good for World of Warcraft to implement as well. And you guys can see it and see what you think about it as well. And then we'll go into what can possibly get improved in Final Fantasy, that the better things I think in World of Warcraft that Final Fantasy doesn't have. So with that being said, let me show you one of the cool things I found with Final Fantasy. So the thing is that in Final Fantasy, you don't actually have a class that you're stuck in when you create your character. Your classes are basically called as jobs, and when you create a character, you can actually switch between any of these jobs whenever you want by swapping out your weapons. So for example, you can see I'm a level 52 Paladin here. If I swap my gear to, for example, if I swap my weapon to a dagger, I become a rogue, and you can see all my abilities change and everything, and I become a level 28 rogue. And I found that to be really cool, where you can actually be different classes without actually creating new characters. It is pretty alt friendly in that manner, so that's really cool because again, you can choose all the different jobs, and you have a tab actually in your character screen where you can see all the different jobs that you have and what level you are in each one of them, which I thought is quite cool and unique. I'm not sure if WoW can pull it off, but I thought it's a cool feature and I would show you guys. The second cool thing with Final Fantasy, and let me actually swap back to my Paladin gear. The other cool thing I found when leveling in Final Fantasy was that you didn't actually have to level through quests necessarily. You had some different options that you have. For example, let me show you guys this one piece I thought is really cool. So you have a hunting log, as you can see here, and in each one you have like the different NPCs, creeps that you can kill, and for each, like if I kill 5 of these ones, I'll get and 2 of this one, I'll get 17,000 XP. So it's really cool because all of them are located in different parts of the world in Final Fantasy, and you get to travel there and kill these different creatures, and you get experience for it. So I found it really fun and engaging to go to different places and kill these and get the experience for them and level up, and you get another rank, and the more you kill and the higher the ranks are, the more experience it actually gives you. So I think this is a really cool piece that the World of Warcraft team can easily implement in the game, and it would be really nice. Because as you guys know, in WoW, you choose an expansion and you go and play it, and you don't really get to see anywhere else in the world, especially if you're a new player. And it's a shame, right? Because there's a lot of cool zones in World of Warcraft, and this is a really great way of doing it. I thought it's really unique. The other interesting thing that they do in Final Fantasy is that in each zone, you have these different events that happen. So if I actually show you the map, you can see the events like in pink, like this, and each of these events give a certain amount of experience, when you actually complete them, and they're random and they spawn in every area. It's not specific to any area. So I mean, you can kind of think of it as world quests, but it's in every zone. It's like, different events, kill this many of that or protect these zones and stuff like that, which can be quite refreshing if you don't want to quest all the time, like do the same quests over and over again. And I think this is a good thing again for World of Warcraft to incorporate, because it'll be fun to have these events, and as people are leveling in the areas, they can actually go to these events and do them and get the experience as well. The next thing I want to actually show you guys is, this is a really cool one as well. So in Final Fantasy, you can actually use your mount as a companion to fight alongside you when you're leveling, and that's pretty sick. So like I'll show you guys. You can get so I have a Chocobo mount. This is the only mount I have. I have no idea how to get the other ones. So you give him this a piece of vegetable, and then you get to summon them for 30 minutes, and now it will fight for you, and it'll move with you, it'll fight for you. And then the cool thing is it also has a skill set, and you can actually level it up. So let me open that up. So as you can see, like, I have 5 different stances, so it can either tank for you, heal you, or do damage for you. And if you go to the skills, you can get, it's like the talent points in World of Warcraft, but for your pet, and you can level them up as you go, which is quite awesome. I think this is a really good feature that Final Fantasy has, and I think it would be nice if they incorporated it into World of Warcraft. I really think people would enjoy it. It just makes it a bit more fun to play when you're questing or doing different things in the world, which I think World of Warcraft desperately needs right now. They need these small wins to make questing and world events a bit more fun. Now, I'm not sure how it'll work with hunters. So maybe the hunters will have now 3 pets if they're Beast Mastery, but I'm sure they can figure something out. Another cool aspect with Final Fantasy is that every time now I'm not sure 100% how it works, but when you do a certain amount of questing in an area, your mount speed increases in that area. So you get a sense of character progression as you quest in a specific area. For example, your mount goes a bit faster, and even though it's such a small piece of detail, and maybe it's not that important, but I think it felt nice that what you did in a zone matters with your character. So I thought that's a cool little piece that they have in there, and it makes playing a bit more fun. One other piece which I found extremely helpful with Final Fantasy is that the main quest is always on the top left of your screen. So you have a clear idea of what you need to do to progress the story forward. In World of Warcraft, unfortunately, that's never a thing, where you don't know exactly what's the main quest. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming for me, even though I've played the game over 10 years, where I have 7 quests that I need to do, and I'm not sure which one is the actual main one. I actually tried playing World of Warcraft, leveling a character up from scratch without any add-ons, or without using any of my prior knowledge or gear or anything, and I'm pretty sure it can be pretty overwhelming for anyone who's starting out with the amount of quests and everything. Even in BFA, you go into some areas, and then you have 6 or 7, 8 quests, and you have no idea which one you need to do and in what order. But in Final Fantasy, it's pretty clear. They have it on the top left. When you click on it, it tells you exactly where in the map to go as well. And that's a very nice feature I think they have. It makes it very beginner friendly. And also, the one other thing is that you can teleport to any area in the map, to these crystals. And it doesn't matter what continent it is, it doesn't matter how far it is. There's no cooldown. I can go anywhere I want. If I just click on the crystal, and it'll basically teleport me. So I'll just show you guys as an example. It takes some gills, which is the currency that Final Fantasy uses, which is pretty cheap, and then it just transports you to that place. So going around the world is very easy, but at the same time, it's necessary for Final Fantasy, but it's not necessary for World of Warcraft, because in this game they make you travel all around the world just to do like one quest. So it would be impossible to do it without this teleportation, where in WoW that doesn't really happen. So I guess it's one of those things which makes sense in Final Fantasy, but it doesn't really make much sense in World of Warcraft. Alright, with that being said, I want to jump into some of the things I did not like and maybe Final Fantasy can improve on. So the first thing that really hit me hard when actually playing Final Fantasy was the let me go here, was the combat, and I'll show you guys why. The combat is extremely slow compared to World of Warcraft. And when I say extremely, it's like, 1 or 2 seconds, but when you actually, it comes to your attention a lot, especially if you're like if you're coming from WoW and you actually get into the combat. Especially in the early levels, it was very poor experience for me. So if I show you guys, here's my abilities, right? So if I hit with 1, I'm not going to be able to cast 2 until, I don't know what it is, it's like 3 seconds, or so it takes, it takes like 2.5, 3 seconds for me to be able to hit another ability. And I found that really annoying. Like, I did not like the combat, especially at the start, initial levels. When I got, so now I'm level 50 something, right? So now I got some more abilities that are off the GCD, and I can cast them while I'm waiting for this other one to, for the 2 or 3 seconds to pass, and that made it a bit better. And you can even do some animation canceling as well. So if I show you, when I press 1 while I'm waiting, I can do my 6 ability and then 2, and I can do some cool combos. So that made the gameplay a bit more smoother than before, and a bit more enjoyable. But the first, like, I would say the first 30-40 levels, it was very slow compared to World of Warcraft. And I think WoW has a more fluid combat system, and perhaps maybe Final Fantasy can take away from that, but I'm not sure how the player base would react to it. Maybe they do like this slower play style. The other aspect that I didn't like about Final Fantasy, and I think WoW does a bit better job at this in my opinion, is there's so many cutscenes when you're questing. It's crazy. Like when you're questing, when you're in dungeons, when you're in raids, there's just a crazy amount of cutscenes that you have to watch. Some of them you have to watch, you can't even skip, and some of them you can skip by pressing escape. But it's just annoying because every time you want to go into a cutscene, there's a loading. It has to load the cutscene. It's not like like a fast transition. So it's just annoying every time you hand in a quest. Every time you want to accept a quest, it's like 1 cutscene, 2 cutscenes, and for me, it was just, there was more watching cutscenes than actual gameplay and combat, and I think it's very frustrating. Maybe the player base enjoys it. I'm not sure. I think maybe if you're more of a person which is into like the story and watching the story rather than gameplay, you'll enjoy it a lot more. But for me, it was at some point in the raid, there was so many cutscenes, I was questioning some of my life decisions. That's how bad it was. And I can maybe show you guys a bit later of of an instance of it, but I don't know if I want to put you guys through it. So I think WoW does a much better job at allowing you to play the game more rather than watching cutscenes and having a few cutscenes here and there, with some cool like movies and animations. So I think that's one thing maybe that Final Fantasy can improve on, unless their player base like really likes it. But I mean, the few raids that I was in and the few instances where it plays, they were all complaining about it. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily true or not. But my, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what the majority of the player base thinks. The last piece I want to mention was the hugest turnoff for me specifically, and that one was you have to play through the main storyline for content to open up for you. So you can't just level to max level without actually going through the story. Maybe you can go through dungeons and stuff and level up, but like a lot of the content is going to be locked for you. A lot of the classes, a lot of the places that you can go to are going to be locked up and you can't go there. And the worst part of it is, if you want to actually skip the story, you have to pay. You have to buy it. I think it's like a pass or something that you buy, and you can skip the main story. Otherwise, you just have to go through it, and it can be painfully slow. So as an example for you guys, when I reached level 50 on this character, every quest that I do now is only gives me 4,000 XP, right? So if you look at my XP bar here, I need 1,200,000 XP to get to the next level, and each quest is giving me 4K XP, just so they can, yeah, I think you guys get the point. So you have to watch cutscenes, you have to go through the story, and I just think I don't know, I feel like it takes away from the game. There's a lot of aspects of the game which is really cool, and I don't know why they force you to go through the story unless you pay to skip it. So that one was a huge no-no for me, and World of Warcraft doesn't do that at all. Unless even I'm thinking even with Shadowlands, with the new expansion, did you have to actually complete the story? I think you could actually level up and not complete it. Either way, I'm not 100% sure, but at least with Shadowlands, it's only the last expansion. Over here, I have to go through everything, and I don't know, it just seems very painful. And again, but that might be because I don't enjoy all the cutscenes and everything as much as other people do, so maybe it's something that's a bit subjective. With that being said, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I will make some more videos about the dungeons and how Final Fantasy approaches dungeons in comparison with World of Warcraft, and I think that's it's going to be a really good video. I think you guys will enjoy it. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.